Have you just given up on goals? If you're like me, you've done this before where you write your goals down, but then the pain comes of not realizing another goal and not understanding what was going on, and then just feeling really bad about ourselves. And so we think, I'm gonna avoid that altogether. My name is David McCormick, doctor in psychology and executive coach, and we utilize the whole life audit as our comprehensive framework to evaluate families and organizations to bring about the best from those hidden dynamics that are often tripping families up in ways that they do not understand. And it's important for us to talk about goals because it is something that is talked about so much in our culture, especially at the beginning of the year when people are thinking about this and being intentional and taking that risk one more time. It's like, okay, this year I'm going to write it down. I'm going to learn German and I'm going to go visit this country and I'm going to save $10,000 and I'm going to do all these things. And they write them down and maybe they're achievable and maybe they're following some system and maybe this person has done their homework and they're doing SMART goals where they're specific and measurable and achievable and relevant and time bound and they're doing all the right things in the right order, and they still get frustrated because they just never do it. So what's really going on here? And is there something we can understand from what's going on in our hearts that will help us actually achieve the goals that we want to see happen? I think before we even get to the point of making the goals, which can be a daunting step for some people, we need to understand what's really going on in our hearts. We need a direction to follow if we are going to grow. Growth doesn't just happen when we are stagnant and not going anywhere. And so part of the reason that we set goals in our life is because we need that sense of direction. We need that sense of moving forward in time. And depending on the way that you're wired, some of us are more prone to live in the past or live in the present or live in the future. But goals can be a helpful way to make sure that we have this pull towards the future because that's where we're going. Obviously, it's important to reflect on the past and be living in the present, but we also need something in our lives to pull us towards the future, and goals can be a helpful way to do that. Also, when you are providing that clarity, like the SMART goals offer, where this is something that is achievable and is also bound in time and it's not ambiguous, and I'm not just saying I want to look great in a bathing suit, I'm saying I need to get down to 10% body fat and I can measure that and I can go with my dietitian and we can measure that together. It shows what we most value, and that's where we want to start. What do you really value? What is the thing that is most important to you? Because your goals should be birthed out of that place, not looking for goals that sound good and then trying to trace it back to our values. Start with what you value most. And so if you do value health more than anything, just thinking, I want to live a long life, and so I'm going to live in such a way where I'm taking care of my body, then I am going to value that and my goals are going to come from there. For lots of people, it's relationships. And so when you see their list of goals, a lot will be oriented on relationships they have in their life. And that obviously reflects what they value most. For others, it's going to be their spirituality or their faith. For others, it's going to be money. One thing that I would encourage you to do is to look at the 7 areas that we utilize in the whole life audit. To analyze these 7 different areas and think about what you value most in each one of those areas and have your goals stem from there. Oftentimes we get this backwards and we're trying just to think of good things or copy other people's goals, and so we end up learning Italian when we hate learning languages. Start with what you value most. So to take an example, if we start with the financial realm of the 7 core areas that we use in the whole life audit, what is something that you value financially? Do you value peace? Do you value growth? Do you value generosity? Whatever it is that you value, your goal should come out of there. And so let's use generosity. For our family specifically, generosity would be one of those values that we see that is showing up in the financial area. So what is a tangible and achievable goal that we could set this year? I've written down in the past, this year I want to give away $10,000. I want to be able to write a $10,000 check to an organization that I believe in. And that goal has a lot of different things to it. First, I have to have that money, that cash, to be able to write that check. And also I need to do my homework to find out which organization am I going to give this to, what is the cause that I believe in, where is the need, so that when I get to the point where I'm sitting down at the end of the year to write that check, there is this sense of cohesion. There's a sense of congruency with the things that I value, the actions that I've taken, and the feeling I have in this moment. That's a good goal. So when you think about goals this year, I want you to think more about what you value most. Not just something you want to achieve, but something that would line up with what you value most in this life, your priorities, the things that you believe more than anything, and have your goals stem from there. If not, you're probably going to fall into comparison or obsessing about what other people are thinking about, something that is outside of your control. So share this video with someone you know, especially in the season where people are setting goals. Follow us and check us out at mccormickconnect.com and find out if a whole life audit for you is the right next step to set these goals in a more meaningful way with all of the information that you need before you. And remember that your values aren't just fancy words that we write and put up on a wall somewhere. They're the birthplace of your most important goals and most incredible achievements.